So let's not do the silhouette thing because, you know, it's a very kind of okay, let's do the silhouette thing. But you see again the shape simplification thing. This for me is this, maybe some people would deceptively think, oh, it's a human being and it's, you know, this is a cartoon and this is realistic. Well, this isn't realistic, but this to me is really formulaic. Okay, this is what I call the super formulaic style of drawing, right? So I'm gonna show you how it's done and how, just why it's not necessarily a bad drawing, but why I don't really, you know, it looks good, it does the job, but I don't. When I look at this, I'm in awe. When I look at this, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's nice, you know. So let me explain to you, right, just how this stuff works. So we're gonna look in simple square. You know, again, I'm kind of familiar with this sort of Batman, Bruce Timm kind of drawing. It's kind of easy. I'll just kind of map this out for myself. Okay, so then my explanation of it to you will be really simple, right? So, right. Let me now scribble a bit over what I've already scribbled so you can understand just how easy this stuff is. Okay, so this section of the body, I'm just going to make a shape like this, right? So if we imagine this here like this is going to be the torso, right? And we're going to put a split in the middle like this, right? Now I'm going to create a line here to find the guy's clavicle, okay? And in there is going to be the guy, where the guy's head is going to be. So, right, let's find the middle of the character. Let's create a bit of, you know, don't make it a straight line. Let's create a bit of volume. Let's now add that line there. And bingo, that's where his neck is going to sit. These are where his trapezius muscles are going to be. You can make them big if he's a big muscular guy like this guy. So let's make them a little bit bigger like that. And what have we got here? We got a triangle, okay? So in there sits the neck, right? Now on the sides here is going to be where his big boulder shoulders are going to be, okay? Which connect to the clavicle like that, which is going to be his pectoralis minor linking to his deltoids. And then his chest muscle is going to sit in between there like that, okay? So here we've got like a, you know, we want to think about contouring the side of the body, okay, to give it so it's not flat. So we're going to put a little bit of a side contour on the body like that. And we're going to think about big kind of boulder shoulders. And we're going to kind of hexagonal, you know, just do something to make them a little less bouldery and round, okay? And then we're going to do that connection shape up there like that, okay? So again, there we have it, right? Very, this is real formulaic stuff, okay? Very kind of monkey see, monkey do, anybody can draw it. This kind of expression is difficult. These kind of subtle nuances, this kind of stuff takes years to learn. This you can learn in a few, maybe in a month or so, if you're already up with your drawing. If you're not already up with your drawing, maybe in like, you know, 2 months or 3 months. Right, so now again here I'm just going to put like a little kind of thing here and break that off, right? And that's where his arm is going to kind of come over here. Now this isn't included in the drawing, but I'll, you know, it's so damn simple that I'll just put it here for you, okay? So that's how we're gonna, you know, we're gonna have that. The actual drawing I'm looking at cuts off about here, okay? So I'm gonna frame it where it should be framed, okay? Is that the shift key? Yeah. So let's frame it where how it's framed in the actual thing. So he'll be about there like that. Okay. Right. So then on this side we're gonna just come out of here, because then again here the hand is going to come in here, this arm is going to come here like this, it's going to curl around. So you see how easy that is, okay? Right, so then now he's got a big number 9 on his chest, so or whatever, an O on his chest for omega. I don't know why I thought it was number 9, okay? So I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to kind of put a kind of little shape in here. Maybe I brought this up just a little too much. It's be down like that. Again, it's so easy generic stuff. Right, so then we're going to come around here like this. Now the neck, okay? So this is the what we call the muscular triangle of the neck, which is going to come straight here, which represents, in here we're going to have his sternocleidomastoid, okay, which is going to sit in here, which joins here like this, and we're going to have the sternothyroid, the sternohyoid, actually, which comes from the sternum to there, and the other side of the sternocleidomastoid, okay, which comes here, okay. The reason why it's called sternocleidomastoid is you've got the mastoid process up here. This is the sternum. So this part of the muscle, the neck muscle, okay, so you got the jaw, okay, which sits here like this. And then behind on the upper skull, you got this thing called the mastoid process, which connects down, okay. And in here, you got other muscles, your sternohyoid, your sternothyroid, your omohyoid, but we're talking about the sternocleidomastoid. So the sternum to the mastoid comes here, but it doesn't just do this, okay, it goes here as well like this, okay. So this kind of little shape here is this side of it, okay, and he's got a little bit of it coming here like that. So hopefully that shows you just how easy it is to do a neck if you just know basic anatomy and you want to draw in this kind of style. So now from there on in, okay, we're going to kind of go, well, okay, that's where his chin is going to kind of be. So we're going to come and have the guy's ear is going to be about here, okay. So I'm just finding his ear. I wouldn't, but I've just realized I'm copying something. So, but it's so easy and intuitive that that I'm kind of just doing it from my own intuition, kind of like because I know how to draw this and I know how to draw that. Okay, so now in line with the top of his ear, okay, we've got the guy's eye line, which is a bit unusual, okay. But then now here, what I'm going to do is we're going to make a straight line, okay. So what I'll do is I'll do that, okay, because you've seen the body, and now I don't want you guys losing the face, okay, because some of you guys think it's all about the face, okay. So I'm going to make a straight line here like this, right, and I'm going to find the middle portion, right. Now, he's how many eye widths apart? I would say he's 1.5 eye widths apart. So his eye shape is kind of like this kind of thing, right? So he's just kind of got these kind of shapes, all right? And you're just going to kind of, and then you're going to go one, okay, and another half, right? And that's kind of where his other eye shape is, right? So again, it's just going to sit on there like that. Now, we're going to kind of create this angry sort of brow shape coming in, which is going to go straight and up around here like this, right? So that's where this sits on here like that. You see? So this is where his brow shape is going to be like this, right? And in this little diamond, okay, is where I'm going to kind of find out where his mouth is. So his upper mouth is going to be around here, right? So his nose is then just going to sit off the edge, okay, the bridge off to one side like this, right? And in between here is the other side. And again, some people like to draw this straight line coming down here like this for his big manly chin, right? So this guy has a mustache, which will just come off his nose like this. And it'll be something like that. And he's got a slight open mouth, and then we're just going to put a little kind of under chin in there like that. We put these kind of eyes in there like that, right? So we can see where we're going with this, okay? Now the straight line down there gives me an idea. You just have to have a feel, that's how all these characters are very samey to me, but you just got to have a feel for how long his chin is. Does he have a little dimple in his chin that'll just make him look a little bit different? So we're just going to come up off here like that. Now on the side of this diamond, we've got like a cheek definition from the zygomatic bone coming into the jaw and the jowl. You got this thing called the orbicularis oris, okay, which is the mouth muscle, which we're going to put a little kind of reference to at the side, right? And then the guy's jaw is going to come down and then taper, okay, taper in. So we're going to kind of imagine this coming here, just going to kind of taper it like that to give that feel there like that. You see how simple this stuff is? It feels very, very like, oh yeah, that's like a real guy's face. But once this very formulaic, this kind of comic book way of drawing faces, and I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying personally, once you figure out the formula, it's not so impressive. Why do I then go goo goo gaga over this stuff? I'll tell you why. Okay, because this is formulaic as well. You saw. But it's the different expressions and the nuances and the molding of the face that really bring this stuff to life when it's in the right hands. These guys are always in a deadpan expression. They've always got their basic expressions, okay? And, you know, is he happy? Is he angry? Is he sad or whatever? And, you know, you say, oh, well, it's more subtle or whatever, but more often than not, it's, you know, the expressions are, you know, I just find them just really easy to draw because they're just the same deadpan stuff. They don't really go to their full potential with this stuff for me. Right, so now, okay, I've missed out this. This is coming along the parietal bone. So we're now adding some contour to the head. Okay, so he's just going to come straight up here. Okay, we're just going to come straight up and then to the back of the neck like that. And then we're going to come up here on this side. Okay, and then we're going to create some volume. So in this divided of the face, we're going to kind of divide it to create some volume, to give him some kind of feel of that he's got, you know, dimension to his head, like this kind of thing. Okay, which is just going to come up here. And then again, we're going to do the same thing with the hair like this. So we're going to think about it all as a triangle, but we're just going to be clever and then curl it off here with another little triangle to kind of go off the volumes on the sides and this kind of thing here like this. Then we're going to separate the hair, okay, hair like this, and come out with a big triangle like that. And this would come down a bit more. And then he's got this thing that really gives him identity, which is the coloring, okay. So you're going to want to blacken part of the hair and then come off the side like that. Okay, so that's basically all there is to the guy's face, you know. So then, you know, I'm just going to come in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to just intuitively, I'm now going to, let me just make this a slightly different color. Okay, let me make this body gray. Okay, let me make this color so I can see it. Now I'm just going to draw over it. Okay, I'm going to draw over it, and I'm not really going to look at the image. Okay, because I've looked at the image enough, and I'm not really going to work hard on drawing it to model. I'm just going to show you just how it looks, because I feel it's all ready to model. I'm not going to try and be 100% accurate. So now we're going to add little things. Okay, so we're going to add little things under his face. Has he got an eyeball? He's got a really little eyeball like that. He's got no eyelashes, eyelid. Okay, I'd be tempted to do that to give him a little bit more vigor, but I guess they're kind of like trying to create some kind of expression out of him by eliminating that. So I'm going to come down here and put another eyeball in there like that. Now this diamond thing that I draw is how, you know, it's interesting how we frame the character's eyebrows, because I like to go around the side personally, but he's kind of like just got these big little fat things which kind of come here like this. Okay, I guess that gives some variation to these very similar kind of designs. Okay, so again, he's gonna come up here and it's just gonna come off there like that. The nose, okay, he's got a very, very kind of straight nose. So we got the nasal bone, and the cartilage is going to go all the way straight down like this. Okay, and we're going to create some dimension. So there'll be an underside to the nose, okay, just by simply going here and coming up, okay, and then the rest of it will all be done in kind of shadow, okay. Just the shadow kind of makes these kind of drawings, okay, like that. Then we're going to add a line here to give him a little bit of difference, okay, to other characters. He could almost be Superman, in my opinion, So then we're going to come down here, and again, I'm not going to be very caring how they've done it, because it's, to me, that's all intuitive. We're just going to have his mouth here. Now he has just got a very basic kind of open mouth like this, and again we've got this little dimple and a bit of shadow there to give him some depth. So now here we're just going to create contours. Okay, so we're going to come in, we're going to come out, right, where the zygomatic bone will go around. So basic anatomy stuff. So if any of you are sitting there watching this and thinking this is impressive, I'm going to really give you hope by saying, you know, this is just what I would consider to draw like this is just entry level anatomy, because it's just big muscular men really exaggerating the muscles of the character. So it's really easy to draw big exaggerated muscles, which we all know where they are when you've just learned anatomy. And let me just silence my phone. Okay, so you all know where those muscles are when you're just learning. So to draw them big and solid like big shapes is going to be super easy. And then also this kind of drawing, why I call it entry level drawing, also for the character's face, okay, is we're dealing with the features of the skull, like the temple bone, the zygomatic bone, the jaw. Okay, now let me just look here. So we got a little bit of the concha here, we got the greater and inferior crus of the ear coming around there like that. Yeah, so for example, here we're going along the zygomatic arch, and we're coming around to where the temple bone defines itself against the frontal bone. Okay, so we're creating this hairline out of that, and it's enabling, you know, it's a good way for a beginner to feel good and confident about their drawing, doing these kind of comic book drawings. Because what they'll do is you'll really start to learn how to draw the head, okay, in a very structural, dimensional way, and it'll be appealing and successful. What I don't want people to think as I'm saying these things is somehow, you know, I'm belittling this kind of drawing. Look, it works, it's nice, and it's, you know, the good thing is it ain't that hard to do. So if you're a beginner and you're into this stuff, just do a little bit, like, just make sure you learn the foundations of anatomy. Okay, just the bare bones. Like, you don't even really have to know every muscle in the body. I always advocate that if you want to go further. But to do this kind of stuff is you know, you're just doing the bare bones. So that, again, here, like, we're gonna bulge this sternocleido, okay, and we're gonna bring it down, right? Then we're gonna come in here and bring this in, right? There'll be a bit of shadow on that side, like here. So again, here, this is going to be the thyroid area, where the omohyoid and the sternohyoid is going to be. Okay, then we're going to have the sternocleidomastoid coming down here and just going in here. So again, I'm using these terms which might seem alien to some of you, but to, you know, as I said, the very beginnings of anatomy, and you learn about the neck, it's not really much of an issue. Okay, so now we have the trapezius coming in here like this. This, for example, is what we call the subclavian triangle. Okay, so again, you learn about the triangles. This is the muscular triangle. Okay, this is the occipital triangle. Okay, this is the this is still part of that muscular triangle, and this is called the mandibular triangle, which is underneath the chin. So you learn these basic things, and all this kind of falls into place. So now along here, we're going to just create just this kind of like square-like muscle over the boulder shoulders that the guy has. And then he'll have a bit of shading. So I'll just put a bit of shading in there like that. So you kind of see how we kind of, yeah, he's got a bit of a cape coming here. How we kind of give those muscles some form and volume with the shading. So again, we're going to come in here. We're going to create the big kind of bulge of the bicep. Okay, and we're going to, again, this is done with a triangle like this. So Galen's looking at this, if Galen is still online, and I know Galen likes to draw in this way, so hopefully I've given him some things that he can think about to kind of reduce the complexity of doing these kind of drawings. They seem complex. So again, here I'm just, his costume is on his clavicle. They're creating the form of his costume on these anatomical features, which is again what makes him really, really simple. So the hand is really, really easy as well. You might have seen me kind of draw this big square. Okay, so again, I'm just going to come up here along here like this, and I'm just going to cut into those. Very just kind of rush these fingers, but that's all there is to it really, because they're all just sitting on top of that arm. Now this arm we don't really see, so I'm just going to draw in what we do see. Okay, so he's folding that arm. Again, it's a triangle like this. Yeah, I knew Galen would be working on his is it Baku something, Night Walkers or something, Dream Walkers. Okay, so this, okay, now it just comes in here. So as you saw me doing all this stuff, hopefully you're able to see just how it all kind of pieces together, just how, you know, these drawings. Okay, I'm gonna bring this one up just a little bit out. Okay, and here like this. What'll really separate the comic book artists from, you know, the good comic book artists from the bad ones, or the what I call just this typical generic stuff of just like this particular drawing here, is when they draw their characters in challenging poses, and how much anatomy they simplify, and what I call create an informed drawing with that, with these shapes, with that anatomy. Okay, so I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna delete that, and I'm gonna delete this, and there we go. Okay, so there we have this guy here. And what I'm gonna do, just so you can see, is I'm gonna go on the background layer, because what makes these guys, what makes these characters, is their color schemes as well. You see, this is all about line drawing, and color is important in that as well. But these guys, especially with, you know, even when I listen to interviews with Stan Lee, and he talks about why the Hulk was green, because that's the only color he had that would stand out, or something or the other like that. So they really had to think about colors and color combinations, you know, and the kind of colors that they had to print in those days. And color is really important. So half of his hair is white there, like that, you know. That little part of his hair is white on that side. And it really gives this guy his identity, right? And similarly, what else is going to give this guy his identity? And I'm going to use a gray, even though it's a red. This is I always like to do grayscale. Okay, one thing that I missed was the, you know, and I'll go and I'll just draw a line on top of that, was that part of the costume which comes there like this. Okay, this is going to put this over here like that. I'm just going to fill in this, because this is essentially what makes these drawings as well. It's not just, you know, the line work, which is super important, and I've kind of like rushed this line, so it's not, you know, I'm just here to make points. Now that really pisses me off. Oh, that's why. Okay, that's why. My bad. So we'll, yeah, still, okay, let's do this in stages. Okay, you see why I never use the fill tool, okay, because it sucks, okay. It's just not worth it. It's just so frustrating, right? Something's missing here, okay, here like that, yeah. And then we got this at the back. Now I could go and put in the shadow, but I'm not going to bother. I think this kind of covers it all, really. I'm just going to come here and just put this line here like that. So we see that how he gets his identity. Identity, I sketch rough skeletons before building, trying to be more brave with exaggeration because I'm finding my work feels rigid to me. Oh well, I can, you know, it's all, it's, you know, that's the same. I mean, here I'm just copying this. So if I was going to do like very quickly, let me show you. If I was going to, like, I've learned, as I said, this guy isn't the world's most challenging guy in the world to learn, okay? So I've never heard of him until today. Somebody just suggested. So I want to be loose with this guy. So I would, let me create a new layer. Okay, so that's that guy there. Okay, so here we see two very different ways of drawing, two very simple, broken into simple shapes. So say I'm gonna have this guy in a pose, okay? So say I'm gonna have him, I don't know, he's kind of like, I don't know that he flies. I've got to imagine that he's got a cape, that he's flying. So I'm gonna kind of think of him flying, but I'm going to think of him kind of like wanting to change direction. So I'm going to put a bit of torque in his body. So I'm going to think of his knee coming this way, ready to turn this way because his body's turning this way. And then I'm going to think of like his other knee kind of like going behind, okay, like this, right? So I'm just, see, I'm being very loose here, Galen, right? So, but then it's the anatomy and then the shapes which are going to make this a strong drawing. Okay, so now I'm going to maybe put his head like this. Okay, and then the torque, I'll think about the torque of his arms. Okay, so maybe I'll have his arm in line with this. So you see this arm will be ready to turn this way. Okay, so but his body is facing this way. Right, so now I need to think about what I want for the other arm. Okay, will it be above? Will it be, maybe I could have it like at the side here like this, or turning at the front like this. Yeah, I'd have it something like this. Maybe his fist. So you see how scribbly I'm getting with this drawing, right? But then to get it to this model effect now, okay, so to get this then to the anatomical thing, I'll simply go into these kind of shapes, okay, that I had, and I understand, okay, again, this is what I said separates the men from the boys, okay, is you understand that this is the rib cage, this is where this connects, okay, so I give it an anatomical pass, okay, so I understand that this is going to be the, you know, the biceps, no, the vastus lateralis, the vastus medialis, the rectus femoris, okay, sometimes I get lost, okay, the iliotibial tract, the tensor fasciae latae coming at the side. So I give it a little bit of anatomy in my pass. So, and then I start using the shapes, okay, so the sartorius, the gracilis, okay, the patella tendon. So I'll be very, very loose with it, okay, because I want it to have that quality. So then the omohyoid, the sternocleidomastoid, I'm going to have his head, okay, which is going to just be a square angling up like this. So I'm going to have his chin up like this. See? So you see that like that. Then his bicep, is going to be stretched. Okay, so squash and stretching the muscle is another thing, okay, which is super important. Okay, so I'm not thinking of these as cylinders and shapes and that very kind of how to draw the Marvel way thing. I will eventually go back to that to put it on model for that kind of thing, but for me, I'm gonna want to think more muscle, okay, more life drawing. Okay, if I'm really wanting to push the pose. Okay, so I just gesture like that. Now I want to think about the guy's cloak. Okay, so I'm gonna think about maybe the cloak is gonna echo the kind of position. Okay, maybe it's gonna come in like this. Okay, out here, and then come up like this. Okay, so I'm again thinking about the angles and what I can do to make it interesting, right? Now, so I have this guy here like this, right, which I think is good. Now, how this is where all this shape simplification starts to come into play. Okay, so we're 1 hour 14. We're okay. Let's make these streams useful for the everyone. So now let's say that we have this here. So now I will use that same technique. Okay, so I'll say this is here like this. We're going to contour this body. We're going to have this coming here. Now I need to have the squash and stretch aspect of the body in here like this, right? And I don't know what the guy, I'm just going to give him typical undies. I don't know what his lower torso looks like, and I just can't be bothered to Google search, okay? So the undies are just going to form the shape of the pelvis. So let's give him a kind of Batman utility belt. I don't know, right? So that's just going to form, and I'm going to put this kind of square at the back to give his body dimension to the rear side. So now we got the clavicle here, we got the chest coming here, we got the deltoids, which are kind of the deltoids, which are kind of like, see how they're creating this contour. The bicep is going to sit in here. Okay, we wouldn't really see, we'd just see the tricep tendon here. Okay, and then we're going to create these shapes. You can create a straight line there like this, and then the fist is going to be a very kind of square kind of shape where we're just going to kind of insert our fist, maybe put our thumb in there to vary that up a bit. Okay, so then again here we're going to create this kind of hexagonal shape along here like this, right? We're going to come out the side, and we're going to create this kind of contouring on this guy here like this. Again here. Okay, so again this whole kind of square thing of the fist. Now I'm going to have to change his head a little bit from what I got, but that's okay. Now here we can play with the muscle, okay, as long as we find out where the patella tendon is, okay, and the rectus femoris, okay, and then the tensor fasciae latae is going to be at the side and the glutes there. So I'm just going to play on the tensor fasciae latae there, and I'm going to come straight down here and play with this rectus femoris coming over here like this. Now here you got the gastrocnemius and the Achilles tendon, so we want to create some contouring on the back of the foot there like this for the boot. Okay, and then if you know your foot anatomy, right, you can then just come out here, which is where the cuboid is, which is going to come in and taper in at the side. The navicular, is going to come out here like this. So again, we create this kind of shape here. Then again here we find the patella tendon, okay, rectus femoris vastus medialis, okay, into the gracilis, coming around here. So again, we want to create from off the tibial tuberosity, we're going to create some contouring on the leg, so side contour line on the leg here. Going to have the insertion point here. Now I'm going to want to have, because he's turning this way, I want to have his foot kind of like look like this foot is almost wanting to turn this way. So again, this is separating the men from the boys in the pose. So again, here we have the navicular, okay, coming down here, and the cuneiforms coming leading into the cuboid. So I'm just going to create this, and then we're going to come out with the metatarsals, okay, and then come into the phalanges, and we're going to kind of just create a foot shape like that. So we can see how this is creating the torque in the body. Okay, so now I'm gonna just complement that with this shape of the cloak, and we're gonna have the cloak going under this way, okay, and then curling up and going up the other way, okay, like this. We could have it, we could be undecided. If this is too much of a kind of shape like this, we can then just play with it a little bit more, and then have this kind of lines coming around here to sell that, you know, even coming in here to sell that this side. Now we're going to talk about this guy's head. I can just move this here, save time. It's not that hard to draw. So again, the sternocleidomastoid is going to come here like this. Now under here we got the mylohyoid, but we have the omohyoid and the sternothyroid, the sternocleidomastoid. So again, we're just gonna easily sort that out, and we've got the leading into the trapezius, the upper neck, and then we kind of like just have this line here to give us that, right? So then on to the simple. Now, you know, I like to put my money where my mouth is. So as I said, we're just going to create this triangle and contour. His head is just going to be kind of like a square. We're going to find that maxilla point, okay, and his eye line was in line with his ears, so we're just going to come up here like this. The jaw is going to come under like this, and we're just going to, you know, from that middle point, we're just going to bring that jaw off there like that, okay. So then essentially his one eye is going to be here. He's got like almost 1.5 eye widths apart. His eye line is going to be here like this. His nose is just going to be a straight line like with his mustache, and his mouth is going to be kind of like here like this. I'll have to go in and detail it in nicer, okay, but that's more or less what it is, right? And then around here is where his hairstyle is going to be, okay, which is just going to be something like that, right? So I will get my eraser out and just shave this off a little bit, and all it needs is just detailing now. So the O for his thing, again, I don't know the costume, I haven't bothered to look, but it's just going to be like along the center line. We're just going to have an O there, I guess, with a slit in the middle. Okay, and we're going to follow the contouring and musculature of the body. So I could take this further, but I really don't think I can be bothered, to be honest with you. I'm going to start looking at people's work, but I'm just going to go over bits of it so you can see. So this is the kind of bare bones of how you can use anatomy and then build on the anatomy with these simple constructed shapes to create your poses and your drawings. It's not, you know, and then the more you want to, like, as I said, what makes these comic book drawings is just simple things like, you know, let's have the light coming from under him. So you would just shadow where the muscles are, okay? So I would just shadow where the muscles are. Okay, so then again here, if the light is coming, from above him and the shadow is under him, so again here I would just shadow this, and I would shadow around the ulna, okay, and then I would just create a little bit of where the flexor ulnaris is, okay, like this, you know. Then again I would shadow under the chest, okay, so I would shadow all this, right? I would then shadow the abs and the loins, okay, and then actually if the light is coming this way, so I would shadow under all this side by choice, right? Then I'd create some shadow here like this. Then I would shadow the inner delts, okay, so the anterior delt, okay, the front deltoid, okay, then around the bicep, Just shadow, and then just completely shadow this side like this. Then all of this, okay, all of this, the light would be here, so the sternocleidomastoid, all of this be in shadow, including some of this here. Just put a hint of light on that sternocleid like that, okay. So then all of this side will be having some shadow. If you want to be clever, you can cast shadow of his arm on his leg like this, okay, and then have more shadow coming in. But then that's, you know, that could be just being a little bit too clever, okay. So then I would have all of this in shadow like this, and then on top of here, on top of this foot, so again coming in here just under the patella tendon, all of this would be in shadow, okay, like that. So this is hopefully this gives you some idea. Let's just delete that again, show you that you should never be too precious about your drawings. So hopefully that gives you some idea of just how straightforward and how simple that drawing actually is, doing that kind of drawing actually is.
So A&B is the greatest archive anyone could ever ask for.
You know, of all the books I've read, of all the other online tutorials I've seen, this was the missing key.
Every video is like packed with this information that I would never be able to get anywhere else. So I would say this is the greatest resource for learning animation.
For me, A&B Animation Library is hands down the best animation learning resource that I've seen. I've tried all the tutorials, I've gotten all the books. I've never been able to really grow until I found A&B.
And it's incredible. I've only just begun it, but like I definitely am getting more from that than I did from my 1.5 years of college.
I've noticed definitely that my animation has improved a lot, and it's more alive than ever. And what I also like about this animation training is that you also gain real confidence.
Real Animator Training Library is unequivocally the best resource for animation, 2D animation, traditional hand-drawn animation that I've seen.
So I wholeheartedly recommend the A&B Real Animator Training Library to anybody who wants actual knowledge and actual applicable concepts to create their own animation and to move forward in the field of animation and to set your work above those that are just kind of teaching themselves and not learning these tried and true classic concepts.
A&B is motivated by his students' successes and improvements. He's a great teacher, a great animator with over 20 years experience in the industry, so you can't really get much better than that. I strongly recommend him to anybody.
I'm thinking on how to put in words what I feel about it. I love that. It approached me from my dream of becoming an animator. Every cent I paid in there was worth it.
I like that the library is structured. I can go back and watch it anytime I want to, and he's just got so much knowledge, and I just highly recommend it to anyone who's out there looking to learn traditional 2D animation.
So thank you, MB, so much, and thank you so much for all you done for me.
So, are you gonna join the library?